What's up, everybody? Welcome to In Great Company. I'm so excited to have you guys back here today. I have a really wonderful friend, great company here today, and his name is Aman Russom. You guys should be familiar with him because he's been here before 2 times.
Twice.
Well, twice, yes. One time with his wife and another time with a group, and he has more to share with us today, so I'm so excited to have him. Welcome back, Aman.
Thank you for having me, Betty.
You're so welcome.
In great company.
Absolutely,
That's
literally
right.
in great company, someone that I enjoy hanging out with and
Likewise.
talking to, a man of wisdom. Earlier,
Thank
we were
you.
joking around before he was here. We said, my money is on. He'll be the first one in our group to be a millionaire.
Let's
I'm putting
go.
it out there publicly.
Let's go.
Just own it.
Let's own it.
Yes,
Own it.
yes,
own
absolutely.
It. Amen.
This is someone I believe works hard.
Yes, thank
I
you.
learn a lot from him, wise. And I've got a chance to just kind of see, when you're friends with someone for a while, you get to see different parts of their life.
Yes.
So we met, I remember when we first, I might have talked about this on another episode, but when we met, we used to count the offering together.
Yes, I forgot about that.
You remember
actually.
that?
Man,
Wow.
yes.
We would count so slow
Yeah.
that we would miss the entire sermon. Do you remember?
I know. It was fun.
Either we
Yeah.
counted slow or we had a lot of offering.
Yeah, I
Either
think a
way.
little bit of both. Yeah. Thank
But
God.
it was cool because it gave me a chance to kind of connect with you and get to know you, and it was cool. It was just a random time for
Yeah.
us to like hang out and
Yes.
yeah.
Yeah, and it's cool because when you're in a space like that, it's not just like you're randomly doing something. It's like this is like a vetted person.
Yes.
This is a
Oh, yeah,
person who's
true.
also trusted to count the
When you're
money.
thinking
it's
about
like-
that, you're like, oh, this
It must be a good
Pastor Paul
person.
trusted her.
Yeah.
I don't even. Were we even friends before that?
No.
Like we were introduced and
Yeah.
like, oh, go count money
I
together.
think we were both friendly, so like we
Uh-huh.
like said hi to each other, but
Yeah.
no, I don't think we had a conversation or anything.
So our first hangouts were sitting there counting
Yes.
a bunch of dollars.
Yeah, working together.
Not dollars. There was more money than dollars.
Yes,
'Cause
amen.
The people of God are very giving.
Very giving, and they funded the growth of a lot of the kingdom efforts. So we
Absolutely,
thank God.
absolutely.
Yeah.
For context, for everybody else that's listening, this is when we were in a Bible study ministry called
Yes.
Next Generation.
Yes.
And this is before Overflow launched.
Yes.
And you were attending there. You had kind of just moved back to the city.
Yeah, I had just come back from college, basically.
Okay, come back
and then,
from
like,
college.
almost a year
Not
later.
married, because I know you guys met his wife last time.
Yes.
Not married.
Single as a
Probably
Pringle.
potentially trying to date her. Who
Very
knows?
interested. Very interested. Yeah.
And it was cool. I feel like it really, you're right. I think during that season, I remember you and Pastor Paul were getting really cool.
Yes,
And he was
for
a
sure.
mentor to you, someone that was a
Yes,
leader.
for
And I
sure.
feel like you guys, I remember seeing a lot of time spent together to kind of like, I'm sure like some type of discipleship was happening.
Oh, yeah.
And then, and it was like right before the launch.
Mm-hmm.
And this is all for context. And I remember we would count money together. I feel like Pastor Paul was probably like, all right, let me give these people, these leaders, potential leaders, some responsibilities. And then
Yes.
kind of, maybe he foresaw what was going to happen and what he was
Yes.
going to ask of us later on.
Yeah.
And then we ended up actually being on the leadership team
Yeah.
for the church launch.
Yes.
Wait, maybe 2 years later, a year later?
2 years later. And just, I will say, on that point, Pastor Paul is gifted at
Oh, yeah.
spotting talent
Oh, yeah.
and developing people and encouraging them and speaking to his life,
Absolutely.
into their lives. So, like, yes.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
You're right. And I remember, I won't forget, like, and this is like off topic, but I remember he had, so when I first met him, like, I think now it's been on like 11 years to talk about spotting talent. He was like, I didn't mind serving. Like, I don't mind helping out. And I remember he was like, oh, you're going to be a leader. And I remember being like, and this is not in humility. I promise you, I was like, I don't know. Okay. Like, what is this?
Speaking Chinese.
What leading what? What
Not
is he
me.
talking about? And he was
Yeah.
so sure about it. So I agree with you that he was really good at like
Yeah.
taking people, and if they're willing,
Yes.
working with them and developing something in them and seeing,
yeah, still is very good at that, and just such a blessing to have somebody like that in your
Yeah.
life. It's something that you can't take for granted, something that you can't even always pay for. You may be able to pay to go to a conference and even pay for a meeting, but you can't pay for something like that. So that's
Yeah.
a tremendous blessing. It's something I cherish deeply.
Yeah. Even for me, I think when I look back at like, especially the past like 6 years or so, both Pastor Paul and Christina, but him specifically during that time, like I feel like where I am now was a lot of what God has shown him to
Yeah.
speak into both of our lives.
Yeah.
Okay, so
Yeah.
we went on a little different
A little-
tangent,
yeah,
but it kind of works because one of the reasons why I wanted to bring you here, when someone knows you, the two things I feel like they really see well is one, you're a dreamer. You have dreams, you dream big, you're not shy about them. Maybe you don't always vocalize them, but you are always working towards goals, and people experience that when they're with you. And then also a little bit of what we just touched about, like the discipleship and the mentorship. Either you were discipling someone, you were being discipled, being mentored, being coached, or coaching someone. I feel like I've always experienced that with you. So those are two things that I feel like I really wanted you to kind of come and share with us. And because this is in great company, and we always talk about like how things evolve in people's lives.
Yes.
I'm curious. My first question would be, did that start with your childhood? Yeah. What is the beginning of that for you?
Yeah, I think I was really fortunate. For just some context, my mom came to the U.S. 8 months pregnant with me.
Okay.
But where she landed was Portland, Maine, of all places in the U.S.
So that's a different place.
So yeah.
Why is that random?
That's random because there's like, first of all, there's not that many people in the country that live in Maine or in Portland, and then also ethnicity wise, it was like, you know, she's Eritrean, so it was like her cousin was there.
Okay.
And he was a refugee, so he found a sponsor there.
Okay.
And at that time, and I think they still kind of do it. Okay. They have sponsors kind of in places that have low population density.
Okay.
So there's
like in the U.S.
in the U.S.
Okay, wow. Okay.
So like they'll have people in the U.S.
because they're trying to bring people to that area.
Yeah, because they're like, okay, well, let these refugees in,
Yeah.
but we may not want to bring them to D.C. or to New York. It's populated. Let's take them to Portland, Maine, or in the middle of nowhere like Minnesota.
Interesting. Okay.
There are lots of other places like that. So,
I didn't know. I know that those places have a lot of refugees. I didn't know what the reason was.
Yeah. So like, for example, Portland, Maine is pretty much all Americans, you know, our fair-skinned brothers and sisters are, you know, white Americans, but then there's a ton of Somalians randomly.
Okay. That's what I was thinking about Minnesota. I didn't know about Portland, but I knew Minnesota has a lot of refugees.
Yeah, same thing in Portland. And then a few like Habesha families, Ethiopian and Eritrean families. So I say that to say, my mom came here and she was, you know, just trying to figure things out. She was living with her cousin who's, you know, really, he's like a dad to me for real.
Wow,
I called him dad until I was like,
when you were a kid?
Yeah, until I was like 10 years old.
I love that, yeah.
And I think being there, she had to become open to being kind of mentored herself.
Okay.
Because one, she's coming to a new country and she's not surrounded with a bunch of people who are from her country either. Americans, white Americans, and she became more like open to the American culture. And the beautiful thing is, if you can be in a situation where you're put into programs, the U.S. does have a lot of like built-in programmatic mentorship. You know, maybe of course all over the world there's informal mentorship, but like really programmatic stuff. So she got exposed to a lot of stuff. And then when we moved to Maryland, she put me in scouting, and I made a friend in elementary school, and her mom was president of the PTA. So my mom was like, oh, I don't know, she would come in and volunteer. And she would like kind of like be like a teacher's assistant. Yeah. So, all that to say, it made her really open, because typically where an immigrant parent may not be so open to like Boy Scouts and piano lessons and like different things like that, she was. Yeah. And so, Boy Scouting ended up becoming like a really big thing. And fortunately, I know that I'm also blessed, I should say this, that I didn't really have any negative experience with mentors growing up. I know, unfortunately, you know, people get, you know, they may get connected with somebody older than them that's supposed to be a mentor, and a lot of stuff can go wrong or even like really, really bad. So, but I had positive experiences, thank God. And so scouting was a big one. I joined this thing called Kappa League. So these guys who are part of the fraternity Kappa Alpha Psi, the alumni chapter in Silver Spring has like a high school development program.
I think I've heard this before in college. Yes.
Okay. Yes. So like basically, for free, you just join it, and they mentor you and they coach you. Like
how did you get involved with that?
They came to my high school and they asked all the black boys who had greater than a 3.0 to come down to like
and they by grade.
Yeah, they pulled us out of class. If you had better than 3.0 and you were black and you're a boy,
and you're like, I got
they came in and they pitched it. I still remember the dude. His name is Mr. McCall. He came in. He's like 6'6", huge. He had a suit on and he was like, man, put together. He had swag and everything, and he was still relatively young. He's in his 30s at that time, and I just was like, yo.
He probably felt way older than 30 to you. Now that you're in that,
right? But he felt like, plus how big he is. Yeah. So I was like, dude, sign me up. I want to be like this guy when I grow up.
What about him?
It's just his everything. He was put together. He was professional. He was smooth, but he wasn't like corny.
Okay.
You know,
Okay.
like
That's cool.
he was fun.
Yeah.
Yeah. And he actually worked in education too.
Okay.
And so a bunch of those guys in that alumni group worked in education.
Okay.
But long story short, these different experiences kind of like really helped me be open to the idea, and they helped me develop a lot. I think that's one of the biggest things a mentor gives you is speed.
Okay.
You know, speed to like develop skills and get through experiences, but also like, you know, I was running meetings as part of that group, and it was
Tell me, like, so the meetings are for like your peers, or
yeah.
Okay.
So I've ever heard of Robert's Rules of Order.
I've heard it. I don't think I know what it exactly is.
It's a very formal, programmatic way to actually run a meeting.
Okay.
There's rules about when you can speak. You know,
Okay.
who
We
has.
may need to implement that into our friends group. There's a lot of these meetings where we're speaking over each other. Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. So that, and then in Boy Scouts, like also both of those organizations are considered boy-led,
Okay.
meaning the parents or the adults, they kind of observe
Oh,
and
wow.
supervise. They kind of coach and help where you need it, but you're really running the show.
Okay.
You know,
my mind is going for the youth group right now.
Yeah.
My brain is like, oh, what can we do here?
Yeah.
That's awesome. Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. And I think that's why they do such a good job of like developing people.
Okay.
And giving them skills, which really you need as an adult, like you know, communication and leadership, and even just the Boy Scout mottos: be prepared. You know, so like even just thinking ahead and doing all types of stuff that you need to do, because otherwise, if you don't plan it, it's not going to happen.
True.
If you don't take care of yourself, you will fail. If you're camping, you don't have what you need, you will freeze, and like it'll be awkward. You know,
True.
but I think I'm getting a little bit off topic, but
No, you're good. I'm following.
my point was that mentorship, even one of my favorite examples of mentorship, when I was in high school, my AP calculus teacher was 28 years old, and he had the highest math score ever at University of Maryland.
Oh, wow.
And so he's like legit a math whiz, and for some reason he wanted to
be a
teach high
teacher.
school. Yeah. I don't know if he's still doing that. I tried Googling him. I couldn't find him,
Okay.
but I really wanted to thank him because I was, you know, I had to work to keep up, but he was such a committed and dedicated and professional person, but he was young and he was fit and he was amazing at math. And what he did was basically, if you were in his class, you know, the AP test scores are from like 1 to 5.
Yes.
His average was like a 4.5, like almost.
So he was gifted at like training these kids up.
Yes.
Because those tests are not easy.
No.
Okay.
And I had friends all over, you know, the county
Yeah.
or even in the counties over that were, you know, in school taking AP calculus, but everybody thought that that was kind of like a joke class. Like, oh, there's no way I'm going to pass this for a lot of people. Yeah.
I did it.
Yeah.
But I was like, I'm not, the test, I'm not worried about the test. I'm just taking the class I need to take
Taking
the
the
class.
class. But a lot of times it's the teacher. And my proof of that is this guy was cranking out fives like it was nobody's business. And so that was like, man, these have been like some really cherished experiences that I have that made me much more open to mentorship, interested in mentorship, and just knowing the fact that, hey, it works. Because it worked for me when I was, you know, a teenager.
Yeah.
And then now as an adult. And also when I went to college, I went to Morehouse. And so I didn't know what I was getting into.
And Morehouse is very big on that. Like, I feel like
Yes.
everything you just said kind of it makes sense that you would go to Morehouse, or a student like that would want to go to Morehouse.
Yeah. Well, honestly, Morehouse, I didn't know what I was doing. They would just
at least
offer me
that's what they made us think.
Yeah.
I wasn't going there, so
Yeah. Well, no, they definitely do sell that, but I had no like, honestly, even Morehouse is a story of mentorship, because when I was in high school, I didn't enjoy school too much, so I would always hang out at our career counselor's office.
Okay. Did he go to Morehouse?
No, she went to Hampton, and she was like, "You guys need to consider HBCUs." And me and my boy were like, "HBCU, what?" Like, and then we were like, I had no context for anything. Only experience I had with HBCUs was I went to Howard to get like dental work done. Okay, and I would show up, and they would be closed during my appointment time. Yeah. And they'd be like out to lunch. And it's like, I'm here for an appointment during the time you're out to lunch. At least such a joke. I would always get so frustrated. So I was like, I'm definitely not going to HBCU. But she convinced me to at least give it a shot. And she organized for Morehouse to come do on-site admissions. Okay. So just basically on-site admissions, you show up, they interview and they offer you a spot right
Yeah.
and a scholarship package right on the spot.
Wow.
So me and my friend both got a full ride to Morehouse just right on the spot. And I was like, that's how I decided I was going to Morehouse.
Yeah, I mean, it's an easy decision at that point. Wow.
Yeah, because my mom and also like my mom also spoke a lot of stuff into me as a little kid. I remember her, probably because she wasn't sure how she was ever going to pay for college for me, but she would say things to me like, you're going to get a full ride. Like when I'm like 6 years old, you know, and even her, she's such an example of growth too, because she barely spoke English, but she taught me and like my friend English from Hooked on Phonics at the same time.
Because she was learning it too.
Yeah, because she was learning it too, and she taught it to us. But we became so proficient at math and English that we ended up skipping a grade. And so all because she was open to learning herself. And so I was blessed to really be in like a growth environment in a lot of ways. So that's kind of what has made me interested, and also made even any chance I get to disciple or share with somebody else, it made it feel very natural. Not so much like I'm doing you this huge favor, but more this is life. This is the rhythm of life. This is how things are supposed to go. If I have something I can help you with, I'll help you with it. You know, one day you'll outgrow me, God willing, or one day and that's the good thing about, I guess one good thing I learned about like this American style of discipleship is it can be kind of programmatic, but in the sense that like there's a beginning and there's an end. You know, obviously we're all disciples of Christ, so we follow him for a lifetime. There really is no end. There's a beginning, but there's really no end. But it made me willing to, you know, not feel like I have to get married to somebody to disciple them, and just help them. Yeah. And be open also to myself to be a student to whoever I may happen to be helping in a specific way. So
yeah. That's really cool. As you were talking, I had a couple of things that I was thinking about, but one of them was like, I don't think we realize, as you're speaking, I was thinking about this. I don't think we realize how much of our life is a product of what environments are being placed in our, like, for example, when you're talking about Morehouse, that decision, yes, 50% was you making the decision and probably being a good student because you got the scholarship and all of that stuff, and saying yes to opportunities that are being given to you. But the other part of it is the fact that somebody was presenting an idea to you, because the other lane or the other alternative in life would have been that woman had never spoken that into you or never brought Morehouse as an idea to you, and you would have picked a different path, right? Or for example,
I wasn't going to go to
your
college.
mother at all. We could explore that too. Or like your mother never meeting that woman that's a PTA. Was the PTA woman the same one that was in the Boy Scouts?
She was the one, that put my sister in Girl Scouts and got my mom open to me going to Boy Scouts.
So like if that woman had not met your mom and those opportunities of Boy Scout or PTA and all of these things weren't being introduced to your mom so that she can create these opportunities for you, you would have been on a different path too.
Sure.
So a lot of not only is it mentorship, a lot of these things are people bringing opportunities that they know and resources into your life. So and I don't think we realize, I think sometimes as humans we're thinking we are making decisions and all of the opportunities. Maybe now as older people, you know, we kind of know what all of our options are, or we think we do. But when you're younger, it's really opportunities and ideas being presented to you, and that are kind of like shaping the way that you go.
Yeah, for sure. And it's interesting because it seemed like you were kind of about to say something about like, you know, when we're adults, we don't realize how much of our childhood impacts the way other people may show up they may be the same age as you, but they show up differently because it may be something they went through. And also in a negative way, they maybe went through a lot of trauma, and they show up differently too.
That's true.
But like it seemed like you were also going to say that as adults, you're still responsible for your future, you know? And I think that's true. I think it's true. And everybody gets dealt a different hand.
Absolutely.
And I'm telling you the good stuff, there's lots of bad stuff that happens to you growing up. But like, you know, we are all responsible to win with the hand that God has given us, you know, and God is the ultimate, you know, he's like the Joker. He's like the ace of spades. He's the one that trumps every other card. So as long as you have that relationship with him, really everything else is just like a supplement. Okay.
Before we move on from the mentorship, based on what we just said, I guess could you illustrate for us why it's so important for us as adults now to be great mentors, or to participate in the opportunities of mentorship for younger folks? Because for example, some of the people that you spoke of are people that are involved in education, right? So we
Yeah.
could say, right, you know, there is a counselor that does it. There are coach. There are people that are professionally placed in these students' lives that could create the same opportunities that were created for you. So I don't have a responsibility. So me,
Yeah.
Betty, not being an educator, not being a counselor,
Yeah.
I could kind of not get involved in these students could be okay.
Yeah.
But why is it important for us as humans, as Christians,
Yeah.
to be involved in young people's life, or even
Yeah.
anyone? Because one of the things that you said was part of mentoring is the hope that these people exceed you at a certain point.
Yes.
And God willing, I love that you said that. God willing, they exceed you, and then that means you've done your part. Like
Yes.
you've done,
Yeah.
you've given them all that you had, right?
Yes,
Why
yeah.
is that so important?
I think it's just part of like being on earth. Like, I mean, if as a believer,
Yeah.
I believe that God has, he died for me. And so it's my reasonable act of worship, to lay down my life and to be a living sacrifice, right? So
Yeah.
what does that mean? That means not living. A living sacrifice is like you are dead, but you're alive at the same time.
Okay.
So it's like my sense of selfishness and control and having to have life exactly work out where I'm come out the winner every time. That
Yeah.
thing has died.
Yeah.
But I still am alive. I'm still creative. I'm still looking at opportunities. I'm still growing and working. And so serving other people really is the only thing that will outlive you in a way that's like really meaningful. And however you serve, you may write a book, you may mentor somebody, you may start this system that ends up touching people, but at the end of the day it's all about serving people, and I think it's critical. I think that you won't really enjoy life really
Okay, that's good.
at its maximum.
That's really true.
Unless you're serving people,
Yeah.
paid and unpaid. You may professionally serve people as a like you said, a teacher, or maybe you're a manager, or maybe you're a pastor, or you're some kind of person. We all have influence.
Yeah.
Obviously, leadership is influence. We all have influence, but stewarding that and really design, because Betsy, I really want to design my life, I can't speak for anybody else, around well done.
Yeah.
Well done. That's my organizing
Yeah.
principle. At
Yeah.
the end, life is very short, and when it's over, the other side is much longer.
Yeah.
And I want to enter that side hearing well done.
Yeah.
And I think that that's a very important organizing principle.
Yeah.
And I think when you have that lens, it helps you realize what really matters. And when you look at scripture, when you look at, even if you're not necessarily a believer in Christ, that's, how people talk about just going by their feelings. That's
Yeah.
the thing that, people, it hits them right here, Yeah. I was going to say something that probably wasn't good for the podcast. But
It's okay. I mean, now we're curious.
Yeah.
No, it's okay.
Yeah. But, yeah.
Okay, so I think one thought is, okay, so when someone is working towards well done,
Yes.
often it's my well done.
Yeah.
So meaning the book I'm writing, all of these different things are accomplishments. There's one lens, right? You could look at it from like Aman's accomplishments, all the things that Aman is going to do that God has given him. But sometimes when we're running that race, we forget about the impact of people around us.
Yes.
It becomes a very selfish race.
Right.
So I guess help me understand how do we run this race towards the goals that God has given us and attain this well done, which I love.
Yeah.
But at the same time, not forgetting, because, okay, the reason why I'm bringing this up. So there are people that I know that are running fast, that are running well, but they've forgotten to take time, or we can forget, I'll speak for myself too, we can forget to think about the student or the person around us, right?
Yeah.
I believe that we should always be mentoring.
Yes.
I'll never forget, from Bethel Worship, her name is, help me out, the pastor's wife, Lord Jesus, help me. Jen Johnson.
Jen Johnson.
We really should give mics to the people behind the camera.
Shout out.
Jen Johnson. Okay, yes. Jen Johnson, one time she was speaking, and she said, at any point, if you became a believer just yesterday, you should always have someone that you try at least. You don't always have to have these people. Sometimes you don't find these people in every season, but have someone that you're pouring into, someone that you're walking alongside, and someone that's pouring into you.
Yeah.
And the reason why I bring that up is because sometimes when we're running, we forget, oh, I don't have time to disciple anybody.
Right,
I don't have
right.
time to mentor anybody.
Right.
I have to run and do this job, and I have to finish this project, and I have this career, and even it could be in the spiritual realm as well. Like I have to attain all of these spiritual goals that I have, yet you're not discipling anybody. And sure, you could say it's seasonal, but I think there is something that God wants us to do, and that's not something that.
Yeah.
What do you think?
I think two things. One, the Great Commission. That's for all of us.
Yeah.
That's not just for the
Easy.
pastor.
Yeah.
That's not just for the 30-year Christian.
Yeah.
That's for all of us.
Yeah.
And we may have to disciple a different person in different season. Maybe a little kid. It may be. Not to say that little kids don't need discipleship. I was touched tremendously by people who took time to mentor, disciple me as a little kid.
Yeah.
But it could be a peer, somebody same age as you. It could be somebody older than you. So it doesn't really. But so we do have to start.
Okay.
Just baby steps.
Yeah.
And that may be taking up a role in a Bible study, or it may be just taking a friend out, and just asking them one or two questions.
Just coffee, something simple.
Yeah. ChatGPT will help you think of some things as prompts nowadays.
We're bringing that in for that too.
And, but the other thing also I think about when I think about well done is people have this assumption that they know how long they're going to live.
That's good.
So
because when you're putting it off, you're assuming that you're gonna have that opportunity in the future.
Yeah, you're assuming you're gonna have that opportunity in the future.
That's good.
And so well done that could be in line for well done tomorrow.
Yeah, and you haven't done what you said you were gonna do, or you thought you were supposed to do.
Yeah, so I feel like it's supposed to just be all at the same time.
Yeah.
Which honestly really requires grace.
Yeah.
If you believe in Jesus Christ.
The balance of it.
Yeah, because he makes all things work together. I really believe like if I'm doing what I'm supposed to be doing, in my case, like I'm married, I need to take care of my health. I need to work. I need to, nurture my relationship with God. I need to do all these things. How do I do it all? It's really grace, and I believe that, Jesus helps make my time more fruitful. So maybe I may have to spend a little less time working than somebody else who's single or whatever.
Yeah.
But he'll make my time working fruitful.
Yeah.
And he'll make whatever time as long as I'm not just like playing video games or just like, just goofing off. But I feel like I don't know, that's just my faith, my vision, is like, if I'm doing what I'm supposed to be doing, the grace, God will help me. So including discipling and mentorship. So even for me, I haven't, like this past 2 years since I got married, I haven't done as much formal discipleship, like in a faith-based context. But a lot of people do reach out to me. I do mentor people at work.
Yes.
And they are not believers.
Yeah.
And so, or maybe they're like kind of believers in name. So it's kind of exciting. It's a new thing. And so that's kind of my contribution, but I still see room where I can grow as far as discipling even people who have already committed their life to Christ. Yeah.
That's good. This is something that I've always sometimes in the church, I'll see people that have so much quality in them already. They have some giftings already. They have, and again, like even based off of like what Jen Johnson has said, if just one day, if you have been a believer just for one day, and this is on the discipleship side, you have something to share.
Sure.
And I feel like sometimes we think, like you said, I guess we're thinking that we'll still be around for a while because it's like, oh, I don't know enough yet. Let me learn, or I don't have the time yet. So you're still kind of pushing this thing off. Whereas sometimes, at least based on my experience, time actually gets harder as you're getting older.
Yeah.
You actually have more time today than you have sometimes in the future. So, But okay, let me ask you this then. We've spoken a lot about like what it looks like to mentor and have you been poured into. Why is it so important for you? You've spoken, and I've heard, and I haven't heard this from a lot of people, but I've heard you talk about having a life coach or a career coach.
Yeah, life
coach. Okay. Yeah. I've heard you talk about counseling. I've heard you talk about, obviously you've submitted to pastors and mentors and disciplers personally yourself. And you spoke a lot about like growing up. That was already something that you kind of have experienced and people introduced into you, and you saw a lot of fruit there. Yeah. But also, why is that something that you continue to seek out? Because you could just say, I've arrived.
Yes. Yeah. I mean, I've got to be a good steward of what God has given me. He's given me life. He's given me my 4 limbs. He's given me, a brain to think. He's given me the opportunity to be in America. Yeah. And I also, I heard Sam Chan say this, I don't want to just hear well done. I also want to arrive well as well. You know what I'm saying? And
what does that mean?
That means basically I want my soul to be well along the way.
Okay.
And you know, I think I just need help to accomplish that. And there's a lot. The thing is, you can go it alone.
Mm-hmm.
It's a lot slower.
What's the risk of that outside of being slow?
You're gonna make a lot more mistakes,
Okay.
and it's okay to make mistakes, but you're already gonna make enough mistakes even with coaching.
Yeah.
But you're making all these dummy mistakes that you can just avoid. Somebody will give you speed and give you counsel. And depending on how serious it is, if we're talking about a marriage, less mistakes means you're gonna have a lot happier of a life.
Yeah.
Less things that are, people will forgive each other, but stuff still is in the background and memories and stuff. And especially if you're going to be a parent, and then there's some things you can't take back.
Yeah.
If we're just being real,
Yeah.
and I know that there's grace, there's mercy, of course. His mercy is new every morning, but there's some stuff you can't take back. And I know that I'm still going to make some of those mistakes.
Yeah.
But I'll make, and I have made much less than I would have.
Yeah.
Just because I had.
Yeah.
And I'm blessed that people, even just older friends, would still reach out to me and just check on me unpaid.
Yeah.
But yeah, the good thing is in the U.S., if you got, I paid for coaching even when I didn't have the money.
True.
That's for Dave Ramsey probably would be happy about that. We use a credit card to pay for some coaching and get some career advice.
It's okay.
And,
no, it's not. It's not.
you know what I mean? It worked out for me, but but that's one beautiful thing, man.
Yeah.
You can get paid help here. Especially if it's something sensitive like dealing with traumas and stuff like that. And the truth is, man, if you could deal with your trauma, life can be a lot better. And it's better to deal with it now when it's in your face than putting it off. And there's this book called Rethinking Success. I just read it. It's by this guy. He's a believer, and he teaches at Georgetown, funny enough, at their business school. And he talked about how, like, basically a lot of people have put off wellness of their soul, and everybody, they may look good on the outside, but they're just really rotting on the inside, particularly, at least for me, because I'm in like business and sales and stuff. So like a lot of them may have the corner office, they may have this and that, but their kids won't talk to them. You know what I mean? And we hear that a lot, but that stuff is real, or their wife is like barely happy with them or whatever, I don't want that. I want to be well, I want to serve my wife well. I want to serve, my parents well. I want to be healthy enough to make it. I want to, and I don't want to wait until I have a heart attack or until I'm about to get a divorce.
To wake up,
or until I'm about to go broke to finally get some help. You know what I'm saying? I might as well. And the good thing is you build momentum over time. So that's the other thing. So like it may start off slow. You may feel like, hey, this coaching isn't working, or this advice isn't working, reading these books isn't really working, going to the gym isn't working, but it takes time. But the thing is, once it's like a train, so once you really get momentum, it becomes so much more effortless. And you may put in 1 unit effort and you get 100. The first you put in 1 unit, 2 units, and you get 0 back. But eventually you get 1, then you get a match, and then eventually it's like you get 100 back for every unit effort you put in. So it's worth it.
I think as you're here, so one of the things I feel like, because we do start things and quit ahead of time, whether it's the gym or it is therapy or counseling or whatever. I didn't connect with the person. It didn't flow, whatever.
And it happens.
But as you're speaking, I was thinking, I think part of it has to do with there's a vision that you have and a dream that you have, which is what allows you, unless I'm speaking for you, that allows you to keep going, right? So is that what it is? Why don't you give up? Why haven't you kind of, obviously mentorship's helpful, but why haven't you given up on it?
I have at times, and I've let it go before and went my own, and there is still in some areas where I may not be as humble enough to be given advice, you know, and I just know that a wise man admits that he knows nothing compared to what there is to know.
That's good.
He knows nothing compared to what there is to know. And so, if you sometimes you see these YouTube sensations that are like, half your age and they're making all this money and like, and you're just thinking to yourself, like, I could hate on them or I could learn from them. I could realize, I got something I can, do better. It's not just about money. You could see somebody. I remember I have a friend that when we were in college, he decided he was going to follow the Lord. I decided I was not, and I look up right at the end of college, we
Yeah.
rekindle our friendship,
Yeah.
and I see the
Where
fruit.
he's at.
Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah, and it's not always about stuff on the outside,
Yeah.
but really the character. What about the peace? What about feeling like you're on mission?
Yeah.
What about feeling like you are close to your shepherd?
Yeah.
You know, what about that stuff?
Yeah.
And I kind of forgot the question, but now I'm just talking.
Okay. Yeah, one of the things that we talked about early on was you are a dreamer, and there's like a vision there.
Yes, that's what we talked about.
Yes. You remember now?
So why haven't I given up?
Yeah,
on
why haven't you? Is I
mentorship?
guess because I think there's something that there's a gift that you have when it comes to dreaming, and why is that so important to you?
Yeah, so it's important because maybe it's a little bit of personality. I think.
You think so?
I
Okay.
think there's some of that where God shapes people differently.
Yeah.
I also have had the good fortune to develop a fair amount of confidence at a younger age.
Okay.
And that's a major blessing because I think almost everybody could say they have dreams, have interests, they have things they always thought would be
Yeah.
cool.
If you ask anybody, they're gonna have something for
Yeah,
sure.
if they eventually open up. Because you know what happens is as a little kid, you got a bunch of it. You become an
dies.
adult and
Yeah.
it gets beaten out of you.
Yeah, no, that's true. That's
Yeah.
true. Like you can't do that. You can't be this. You can't be that. Absolutely.
Yeah, and depending on who your parents are, they may be the main one.
Or disappointment in life. Right?
Disappointment,
Yeah.
you go for stuff and you fail. It's kind of like a catch-22 though, because the more you read and the more you learn, I was, even before I really became a big reader, I would watch a lot of interviews. That was like I would watch interviews.
Like when?
Like high school, when like YouTube
That's
was really
interesting,
becoming
yeah,
big.
yeah.
I would even more.
Like I'm talking. Like who? Who are you watching?
At that time, if I'm being honest, it was like rappers and stuff like
Okay,
that.
no,
you
but
know?
no, that's not a bad thing.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
asking, and
Yeah.
I wasn't expecting
Yeah,
anything.
yeah.
I was just at that age to be watching interviews is very like I do that
Yeah,
now
you do
as
that
an
now.
adult. 'Cause You're trying to
Yeah.
learn from people. So
Yeah.
the fact that was really cool that you're doing that at a young age.
Yeah, I just was like, I don't know. You know what? I don't know where this came from. I don't know
Okay.
if somebody said it to me
Okay.
or if I read it on one of those inspirational posters in like elementary school or something.
The ones that used to be in the counselor's office.
Yes.
Oh man, do you remember those?
Yes, like if you
Did they go away?
watch your thoughts because they become your words. Watch your words,
They
they
were
become
big
your
posters,
actions.
too.
Yeah, all of them. Yeah,
They still
becomes
have
your-
them?
They still have them. Yeah,
Okay.
become your destiny. All that stuff. Yeah,
Yeah.
I believe that stuff. And I don't know. Something happened where I just somehow just really got grip with the idea that these are human beings.
Okay.
They're not superheroes. They're not caricatures. They're not like from a different planet.
Okay.
They were born on Earth to parents. They have flesh and blood. They have issues in their head like I have issues in my head.
Okay.
But like they're performing.
Okay.
You know, and just that idea of being able to perform was really interesting to me, and I thought that
Perform meaning like because they're rappers. What do you
no
mean?
performing like okay, yeah, that's it. Yeah, I can see that can be confusing.
Okay.
No, I wasn't trying to become a rapper, but but I mean performing is like acting on whatever they're executing.
Oh, they're okay.
They're
I see what you're
executing.
saying. Yeah.
Yeah, they're executing
They're performing in life.
in life.
Okay.
Yes. Yeah. I mean, they weren't the best role models,
Uh-huh.
but that was what I was interested in at that
Okay.
time. Later, it became business people, or it became pastors or Christians or
Yeah.
just anybody. Honestly, anybody that would hop on an interview.
Yeah, you'd watch.
If I could read just a little bit of their bio,
Yeah.
and I would thank God I came up in the internet age too, because I mean I can go deep on Wikipedia for hours and stuff. And that's all those sessions.
Interesting.
Although it took me forever to get my homework
Yeah,
done.
yeah.
But
But that's what was inspiring
It was
you.
interesting. Yeah, your
Yeah.
curiosity. You got to
Yeah.
foster.
I
your
agree.
curiosity.
Actually, I agree. And I think
Yes.
even now, like I found like books and biographies, they really do impact.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Even lately, I was really encouraged by one of the entrepreneurs I follow.
Okay.
He's like really big on reading, of course, but like he talks a lot about how biographies he reads them, but he listens to them on audio. And I was like, like a couple months ago, I was like, let me go ahead and try that. So I've been doing that in the gym, and it's amazing. I just finished the Michael Jordan.
Is it good?
Biography. It's fire.
Okay, because
Oh
that's
my
not on my
gosh.
list. I have a few of them, but that's
Yeah,
not.
it's so
Steve
good.
Urkel has one out. That's not
Really?
even his real name. Whatever his real name is.
Yeah,
I'm
Jaleel
actually
White.
really excited. Yeah, I'm really excited.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. I think it's his name. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
But
Okay,
yeah,
so Michael Jordan's really good.
fire.
Okay, we'll
fire,
add it to the
fire.
list.
Yeah, and I don't know if you know David Goggins. It's very explicit. I'll be honest with you, but he's.
I was like, wait.
But it's not explicit in like. But he curses a lot. But he's
Okay.
like he's the only dude.
Who is he though?
Yeah, he's the only dude who finished Navy SEAL training.
Okay.
He did Hell Week 3 times.
Okay.
He's an Army Ranger, and he's the special forces of the Air Force. He's the only person in history to ever do all three.
Oh wow.
And but his story's crazy because he
Okay.
came from like severe abuse, severe poverty, and he's like black people represented in special forces, a very small percentage.
Okay.
So he's a black dude doing it.
Yeah.
And he used to be like, did I say obese? He was huge.
Really? No,
Yeah,
you didn't.
he
Wow.
was-
Okay.
yeah, he was
Now I'm
super
really
big.
interested. Okay.
Yeah, but then so it's all about his change, and now he's a ultra racer.
What's
So
that?
he does like 100-mile races. Like you got to race 100 miles in like 24 hours or something
Oh,
like
wow.
that.
Okay.
Or like he's done a bunch of those type
Yeah.
of races. Yeah.
Yeah.
So he holds like all these different fitness records. But my point is that
Yes.
his life changed,
Uh-huh.
and it's just been really inspirational.
Yeah.
So again, here's me going on a rabbit trail.
No, you're good. You're
talking
good.
about a
I'm gonna
bunch of
pull it
different
back. Don't
stuff.
worry.
Yeah,
You're good.
Yeah, please pull it back.
You're lost.
I'm already lost.
Okay, we were talking about
I
how
just like
people's
talking
lives
to you,
have been
Betty.
inspiring to
Yeah.
you.
Yes.
And then we were gonna go into talking about dreaming.
Yes.
So you could tie that away, together however you want.
Yeah. So all that to say, these interviews, these biographies, and more what I've gotten
Yes.
into now,
Yeah.
have really helped me realize that like people are just like me, and if they can do it, I can do it.
Yeah.
And I don't have to necessarily want to do their life,
Mm-hmm.
but if they can overcome their fears, I can overcome my fears.
Good.
If they can perform well under pressure, I can perform well under pressure. It was really interesting to me, like even Jordan, you would think that like his team worked perfectly together, but there was so much beef inside of the team.
Yeah.
But they won 6 championships, you
Yeah.
know? And so it made me realize, if my team is not perfect, that doesn't mean we can't
That's good.
win, or that doesn't mean that years from now we won't look back on this and appreciate it.
And it doesn't
you know?
have to be the seamless unity and like
Yeah.
everybody gels well together kind of thing.
No,
That's
yeah,
good.
yeah. So the main thing is that like I can do whatever God is going to help me do. Whatever vision He's given me, He'll help me accomplish it. And I just need some fuel to kind of help me stay encouraged. And I really believe like, if we'll be honest with ourselves and we spend time in prayer and reading the Bible, I think God really speaks to us. I was thinking about our talk today, and the book Whisper by Mark
Okay.
Batterson. Have you? It came out.
I know Mark, but I don't.
Yeah,
know.
it came out like maybe 2018 or something
Okay.
like that. It was really good, by How to Hear the Voice of God.
Okay.
He talks about the 7 languages. One of them he talks about his dreams.
Oh, okay.
And
That's
like,
my favorite.
yeah,
It's the only one that works for me
yeah.
this way.
And he talks about both the dream, like actually having a dream
Yeah.
at night while you're sleeping.
Oh, okay. Okay.
But then he also talks about dreams like while you're, like daydreaming
Yeah,
basically.
yeah.
And like how God will, kind of lead you through your desires, through your interests, through, and I guess the idea is that like if you really only have one life, if it's true, if we believe that, especially as Christians, if we believe that we're going to be here once and then we're going to go to eternity, and then, there's the new heaven and new earth and all that stuff, but like that I should be doing what I'm supposed to be doing. And maybe that what I'm supposed to be doing is not, doesn't fall on this programmatic path of like, whatever job you're supposed to. And for a lot of people, it may be found in that 9-to-5 type of thing. But if it's not, then be okay with that,
Yeah.
and embrace that, and don't think with a failure mentality. Don't think that, oh, God has called me to do this and it's not traditional. That means I'm basically going to be a hopeless romantic or like a starving artist for the rest of my life. No, like it doesn't have to be that way. And what helps you really, I think, crystallize and figure out your path, especially if it's non-traditional, is a lot of interviews, a lot of like biographies, a lot of understanding. Also, when you grow up, you realize all these adults are out here making everything up. When I was a kid, I thought adults knew everything, but then I realized
You realize we as the adults don't know. Yeah.
yeah,
Same.
people are just making rules
Yeah,
up,
yeah.
and whoever's more influential or whoever is more certain about the way things should go, that's how
Yeah.
they end
and
up
it's
going.
worked for them.
Yes, yeah,
Yeah.
and certainty is a big thing too. Our people, they're immigrants, and I love them.
Yes.
So they can be confident
About-
and be loud and wrong. It took me
so
long.
confident. Yeah. Yeah.
It took me once I realized that, I was like, dude, I'm gonna start thinking for myself more.
Yeah.
And dreaming about the future is priceless. You can't let that
But
go.
why? Why is it priceless? And it's specifically,
Yeah.
and I want to give you an audience because
Yeah.
I think to a room full of dreamers, telling them to dream is kind of
Easy.
It's a no-brainer, right?
Yeah.
But to a room full of people that may be in a rut or don't see the value of it, and they kind of are in this like rat race or whatever, or I don't have time to. Why is it so important, especially as Christians? Because, well, no, actually, even to a regular person, but definitely to a Christian, why is it so important for us to dream?
I think if you believe that God is, encouraging you and speaking to you through the Holy Spirit, then you're really not just dreaming in this selfish kind of I'm designing my life kind of way. You're really dreaming in the sense that like God like breathe inspiration into me, give me guidance. Psalm 25 is my favorite psalm. Says whoever the man who fears the Lord, he will teach him in the way that he should go. He will instruct him in the way that should go. So what does that mean? If God tells me to do something that's not traditional, then he'll lead me step by step, and I think that question is really rooted in fear. Why should I dream? This is my personal opinion, but I think that question is really rooted in fear. And the better question is like, why would you not dream? Like, why would you, because what's the opposite of dreaming, right? It's just living with your eyes. If we're believers, we walk by faith and not by sight, right? So without a vision, the people perish, right?
That's what I was going to bring up earlier too. Absolutely.
Yeah, and I love the Passion Translation is what it is, but without a prophetic vision, the people cast off restraint,
That's
so
good,
without that, you're going to lose. What does that mean? People perish, they lose discipline, they lose motivation, they lose excitement.
And it's not the perish in the death part, perish in like living. You're on earth, but you're dead.
And I think a great example of that is what you see what happens when a lot of people retire. They quickly get sick. They quickly get, their memory goes really fast. They develop all these issues when they were looking forward to their whole life to retirement. And then now there's no more vision. Now it's like, okay, I've arrived. All the vision's gone. And so
there's this. I don't know if it's true. I haven't done my research, but there was this pastor that was saying how, in the Hebrew language or in the Hebrew Bible, the word dream and health is almost synonymous, which I was like, okay, wait a minute. So you're telling me that being able to dream and have this vision is talking, and not just health in the physical, but health as in like the quality of life that you're living. So it's, my happiness is not circumstantial. It's based on how much vision and dream I have. So if I can, sometimes if you think about it, and you were saying a little bit earlier about like what inspires you. For myself, I often find that when I hear someone's story, and part of the reason why this podcast exists for me, when I hear other people's stories, it makes me feel like I can do anything. And when I can do anything, when I feel like anything is possible, and I have this just excitement for life, I actually am like, my happiness is like nothing has happened. Like if you think about it, like my circumstance hasn't changed. I haven't gained more money. I haven't, like, nothing that I've prayed for, but the fact that I have hope and like the future is bright literally will bring you happiness. So happiness is not really circumstantial. It's literally based off of a vision, a dream, and then like it's almost like kind of this delusional joy and happiness that you have because you think something is going to happen.
Exactly. And you talked earlier, you kind of mentioned disappointment. The scripture does say that, hope deferred makes the heart sick. Basically, what does that mean? That means I hoped for something, it didn't work out. So disappointment can make the heart sick.
And if there was hope, then there would be joy, right? There would be the opposite of sadness.
And the truth is, before there was sin, there wasn't any need for, or there was no real experience of disappointment. So I think that even the experience of disappointment, this question of like, why would I dream? It's basically asking me like, why would you invite me to a risky life? Why would you invite risk into my life?
That's good.
And I would say because you'll feel more alive.
That's good.
You'll probably live longer.
The thrill.
There's this book called 10X is Easier Than 2X. And it talks about how the difference between like 10X thinking and 2X thinking. But one of the things that really struck me from it was that when you're thinking 10X, which is like when you're thinking 2X, you're living your life defined by your past. Because I've had XYZ experiences, that means my options are limited to anything that relates to my past, right? But when you're thinking 10X thinking, you're living your presence actually defined by your future.
Wait. So 10X is zoomed out.
10X is like instead maybe I have a decent body now, but one day I want to have an amazing body, or maybe my relationships are not that great, I want to have a super fulfilling life. It's like that future that's so radically different than your current future, that it's so big that it pulls you toward
it's blowing. Okay, I got
yeah,
you.
it's so
blown up.
exciting that
Okay.
it pulls you towards it.
Okay.
Or if it's money or whatever, but whatever it
Yeah.
is, but it's like it's 10 times better than your current reality.
Good. Okay.
That living like that, it actually does a few things. One, it helps you define your present with a lot more enthusiasm and energy, because you're moving towards something you really want and you're excited about. And even if it's spiritual, like I don't want to, like maybe you're just starting your walk, or maybe you've been in a rut spiritually, or you've been neglecting the things of God, and you're like, man, I want to be so close to God that I hear him on a daily basis. That's a radically different life. Going for that will not only cause you to be more excited on a daily basis and shape your actions so that you're not just going for the humdrum that's based on your past, but you're actually going towards that and you will achieve it.
Yeah.
But also it makes life go slower.
Yeah.
You know how people say like
I've
life is
experienced
flying
that.
by?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
A lot of times it's because they're just kind of humdrum going through whatever the program is. But when they're excited and they're going for something that is stretching them and is going to have to cause them to mature and to grow and to do things differently and to think differently.
Because they're focused just very much on the future and what's happening and what's to come.
Yeah. And have you ever felt like not that life is flying by, man, I can't believe a year flew by, but like, man, I got a lot done today. Like I overcame some of my fears today, and it doesn't really ever come out like that, but that's really what it is. Maybe you had to call this person, have an awkward conversation where normally you would run and flee from that, and you do it. Oh my gosh, you feel so alive, and life actually moves slower because you're squeezing more out of life. Proverbs talks about that too, that wisdom will add days. Add length to your days. My bad.
Okay.
Wisdom will add length to your days and add years to your life.
That's good.
So, not only will you live longer, but length to your days, right? Each day will be have more zest.
Yeah. I think, and I'm going to do this one more time, but again, if I was to send you to someone that has potential and has, gift, and I believe everybody does. So I think part of what, if there's something that really, really burdens me and bothers me and irks me and sometimes creates even tension in friendships for me, is when I see potential that's not being used. If I see,
that's so awkward to see.
it very much challenges me, and it's because it's almost like you've gotten a chance to see what their future could look like and they haven't seen it. But a part of that is, again, these people are not dreaming, or these people have kind of maybe given up, or the day-to-day. Sometimes it's, to be honest, I'll speak for myself, it's laziness, right? Because it's like the work, that everyday work that has to be put in order for this dream to come alive and to be real is a lot, and I don't want to get started, right? But even sometimes it's the actual like dreaming and the actual idea. And I think, I guess, how if I was to give you a room or a person, you had to speak to them and you had to try to encourage them. Outside of one of the things you said was there's fear obviously there. Outside of that, what are you saying to this person to kind of make them come alive and dream again? And
I would ask them, like, if you like, I know it's hard to get around fear because we use so many code names for it.
It has to be a revelation too.
Yeah, but fear has so many code names. We call it anxiety, worry. I'm worried about this, or I'm concerned that if I do this, this will happen. But really, these are all little subgroups of just fear, right? And I would really encourage people, like, if you knew you couldn't fail, what would you do?
That's good.
If you knew you weren't going to fail,
Really
what would you go for? And then also just to be honest about what you really want, and take the time. That's one thing that I have. That is, I think, important to a life of dreaming, is that you got to make time for it. You got to be able to turn off the TV, and I love my friends, but you may have to spend some time away from your friends. If you're married, may have to even be alone, no spouse, nothing. And just, it may start off being an hour, but eventually you work it up to a few hours, and then maybe half a day, a full day, maybe a weekend. Who knows? Then you'll get better, more comfortable at it. And what happens, you need space to like think and to be with you, to be with God. And really, those are the only people I remember Andrew Womack talked about when he was building his church,
Yeah.
how he had this vision for it and he was going for it. And like, he realized he never even, his wife was confused about what the vision was. He's like, dang, I told,
I forgot this.
yeah, I didn't even tell my wife, you know, but it's funny because, oh man, you should be communicating better with your wife. But then I thought that was really cool too, in a sense that like, it was just like, he had such an intimate connection with God and himself that like, he was so sure about it. And like, we look at people, how are they so sure? And it's like, man, you don't know all the hours they've spent just, you know, sometimes just thinking, you know? And I forgot who said it, but it said like half the world's problems will go away or are only here because people can't sit in a quiet place for 30 minutes. You know?
Wow.
That's savage, right?
Yeah, and it's getting harder. It's getting really much, like, very much harder to do that. And but I think there's a reason why the Lord wants us to retreat a lot. There's a lot. I mean, one, he can't speak to us. Two, we can't even hear our own thoughts and even journal and write. And
even just process. You've been through so much. You got these pressures, you know, on your life and through healthy pressure. And pressure is good, but sometimes you need to get away from that so you're not thinking from a sense of like short-term urgent fear, got to get it done, to like more like, okay, let's have some space to figure out where are we really going, what impact do we really want to have. And it doesn't have to be like you become a billionaire or you start a foundation, but like what impact do I want to have on my family, what impact do I want to have on my friends or my community, or maybe you do want to start a business or you do whatever God is calling you to do, but just where am I going, you know, and invite the Lord to help you. And that way you can get out of the fear zone and into get off the couch and into the game. I'm
actually thinking like, even if any of these people that, even ourselves, right? If we really did retreat and sit down with the Lord, there would be so many things that he deposited in us. Not only would he be handling the fear and the anxiety and the worry, which is what he already promises and we know that he does, but even to be able to deposit the dreams in us and make them come alive, how could he do that when there's so much noise around us?
So
like
much noise,
there is okay, I'm going to touch on something that you said earlier. Does it ever become a challenge now that you're married and you're leading a household? When you're dreaming, I mean, we believe, okay, men are leading a household, right? It could be both ways. If she was sitting here, I might ask her the same question. But is it ever a challenge to dream? And I say that because do you ever go too fast, or how does it ever affect the pace of it and stuff?
Yeah. Every season has different challenges. And different blessings too. When I was single, yes, you can go much faster. I don't have to check on anybody. It doesn't matter if my place is a mess. You know, I just do what I got to do. And as long as I'm happy or as long as I feel like I'm on track, then I'm good. But at the same time, it's you're doing everything alone. Everything, you know. And when you're married, it's a blessing. You really do have a partnership on a practical level, but even on an emotional level too, you know, when you're versus just dealing with all your problems in your head. Maybe you have a best friend you can call, but which is awesome, but it's very intimate. If you're blessed to have a healthy marriage and you've worked for that, then the support when it comes to dreaming is much greater, much greater. And the buffering of all the tension that comes up in your head. Maybe I'm the only one that be thinking a million thoughts a second, but like,
no, I doubt that. You're the only one.
it really helps. Is it different? Yeah, because you have to, you know, in my case, like incorporate my wife's dreams, like figure out like what would be pleasing to her, and it's my job to serve her, you know. So automatically, my all my ideas and my prayers have changed because now it's not just, I don't want to just show up and Aman's happy and she's
Aman
miserable.
just gets the well done, right?
Or
she's
Aman,
a part of that.
She you know, she needs a well done too. I need that, you know.
No, but your well done includes her.
It does include her well done. So
you can't get the well done if you haven't, you know, served her well.
So it's so important for me to even consider like the growth of both of us, our union, and then also like, I think a lot of times when we talk about dreaming, it's so hard while we're here on earth not to compare and not to be covetous and not to idolize your dream. You know, it's the dream is not the idol. I know people talk about that, you know, there's a problem on the earth that you were designed to solve and all kinds of stuff. I think that's true. But my primary thing is my relationship with the dream giver, you know.
Okay, good.
And that's what I think that's something that Sam is talking about, Sam Chan, when he talks about arriving well, is that I don't want to just do, or even Jesus talks about that. You know, you casted out demons in my name, but get away from me. I don't know you, you know. So that is more important than the dream or whatever. And the dream changes too. Yeah. Oh, like seasonal. The more I learn, the more my dream changes. You know, the more I realize that there's certain pitfalls, the more I update my dreams, you know, and I have dreams in different areas of my life. I have dreams for my relationship with my parents, you know, dreams for my relationship with my siblings, and even, you know, all the practical things I need to take care of on earth. And, you know, all that to say that, like, yes, when I'm married, my dreaming does become more challenging because you have to vocalize. It's not just an internal thing.
Yeah, that's why I brought it up, because you were saying how the guy was able to dream and his wife didn't know.
Yeah.
We laugh, but it can happen often because, again, you were running so fast, you haven't paused, or maybe you did share and she, you know, she didn't agree with it yet. The Lord hasn't, you know, told her that. Yeah,
and I think every newlywed can relate to that too, because it's like you come home. I'm so used to coming home, throwing my clothes wherever, leaving dishes in the sink, and this is my dream. I come home to my house, I fling all my stuff off, and I just chill, you know. And then, but this is not her dream. Her dream is the house is
beautiful,
neat.
clean house. That's so funny.
And so even on a level like that, I have to, like, okay, is my dream that I come home and do whatever, or is my greater dream that my wife is at peace at home and I'm at peace at home? So now my dream is already updated. Okay, I want a peaceful home. So what does that include? You know, me doing a ton of chores, and being responsible. But then even in a long-term way, now I have another set of parents. It's not just my parents. You know, I have this. So now I'm dreaming for what their life could be like. You know, and I think dream and prayer are like, they're almost the same thing. They're so close. Like, I feel like as a believer, especially as a believer, if you're dreaming and not praying, I think you're robbing yourself of a lot of the growth along the and you're setting yourself up for idolatry and for disappointment, because all these things will fail you eventually. Even if you want to start the biggest church in the world, you know,
it becomes about the goal and not the giver again.
Yeah. Even if you want to, you know, feed all the children in India, it's a beautiful thing, but it's called like achiever's disease. You know, you're just like constantly focused on the next thing, not experiencing the blessing of gratitude
in their heart. Even when the Bible talks about what is your heart fixed on, what is it? Is it, because then that's where the pride is, right? Like, I want that accomplishment, I want the world to clap for me. All of those things set root because you aren't daily in communion with God. And so praying daily and increasing that, and even if you have to install like the daily office, you know, like pray in the morning, in the evening, but also like maybe at lunchtime. And it brings so much. You know how I was thinking about this, you know how like God calls us to be salt and light? He's salt and light to me, you know, like he is my salt and light. So like he makes the whole journey meaningful, makes your life
bright.
And the salt is what tasty. It makes it have flavor and enjoyable.
And he preserves me. Even when even when I get that knockout punch and I got the wind blown out of me, he's there to bring meaning into it. It's not just about stuff. It's not just me like, oh, it's so hard. It's like, oh, it's part of my development. It's part of my story. You know, it's part of the journey, and it's making me more useful to the potter, you know, I mean, to the potter. I'm the clay. And it's funny, I was reading Isaiah. He was basically like, can the clay buck back to the potter? Can the thing that is made buck back at its maker? Like so, and that prayer dynamic helps me realize that it's also to be willing to die to the dream too. Like, that's why it's so important to read our Bible as well. Because the Lord speaks through that, and you know, the Word of God is a double-edged sword. It's able to separate between our dreams and God's dreams is one way to say it, but really between the soul and the spirit, between what God really is saying and what we think He's saying, and or what we're saying. We're trying to make it like this is what God's saying, and that's so great because we realize, hey, you know, like we look at like Steve Jobs or somebody else, you may think, oh, look at what he did. He did do us a lot of amazing stuff, but like if you filter it out, maybe I wouldn't be an a-hole to my staff. You know, maybe I would be an inspirational, transformative leader even.
And it ends up, and you could say, is it all pointless now because you didn't, the character that was there and the experience that people had, and you did all these things, but
and God bless him. I still draw a lot of inspiration from him and what he's accomplished in his life. But like as an example of like how building in that really not letting go of that fellowship with the Word of God and that prayer, because it really, like I said, brings meaning and direction. And you'd be willing to die to some stuff you swore God said, and you realize the hard way that God didn't say it, or like you tried to make it be like God said this and He didn't, and it's all good. You just move on, but you don't stop praying. You don't stop going for it. I mean, you can, take a breather. Maybe you need to go get a massage or something like that, or take a nap, or eat a meal.
Be quiet for a little bit.
Be quiet. And lick your wounds a little bit. But you just get back up and trust God. You just let that trust is just it's a muscle, and it should continue to grow. And dreaming should actually strengthen that, because now you're venturing into a place where you're walking by faith and not by sight.
There's a risk there.
There's risk, and risk is a good thing.
And we think we have a hard time believing that risk is good. We have processes are good, or challenges are good. I think as Christians, we say, we walk by faith, and we say, growth is good and all of these things, but in the actual moment, we're typically praying to get out of them.
Yes.
Get me out this pain, get me out this challenge, get me out this risky situation. I'm scared, Lord, get me out, what are you actually saying in this moment? How are you doing that? Okay. I think, there are dreams that we've had since we have been kids. For you, I'm sure there's a lot of things when it comes to you work in sales, and you have dreams for like you said, your families and your relationships and things like that, ministry-wise as well. How do you continue to dream big, though? Often our dreams are year to year, month to month, but these huge, big dreams, how do you practically make sure that you are thinking about those things too? And for example, we joked earlier about I think Aman will be the first millionaire. We say it as a joke, but it's true. Like it's a possibility, right? Like nothing is really impossible, and if anybody else can do it, you can do it too. So, but how do you keep incorporating those big dreams?
It's kind of a counterintuitive answer, but the first thing I was thinking while you were saying that is just taking baby steps.
Okay.
And I think that actually nurtures the dream really, really well. It's like, hey, how do you eat the elephant one bite at a time? So like if you have this giant thing that you're going towards, just actually move towards it, even if it's at a snail's pace, but just inch towards it. I don't care how small the step is. And even for me, there's some stuff I'm working on right now that is very new, very challenging, very kind of scary, but. And so I'm like breaking down, I'm making my list of what I need to do, But I realized that even the list that I'm making of the items that I think are small, even those small items are too big for me right now.
They have steps of their own.
So it's I'm realizing that my baby step actually is getting smaller and smaller and smaller to the point where it's like, okay, if today I just call this one person, have this one conversation, that's a win. So and I think that actually helps you dream big, because you realize over time, like over a month, over 6 months, over a year, you've done so much. And the thing is, you have to die to covetousness, though. You cannot really have a healthy dream life if you're constantly comparing yourself with other people.
You have to see the lane as your own.
Yes, you have to see it like I'm making my own story, and I draw inspiration from people, and you have to be disciplined about that. And you have to be careful about being competitive. I think being competitive has a very limited use if it's being used wisely.
That's good. And actually, before I forget, I think one of the things, the crazy thing is when you're looking at other people, you're thinking like they have it and you kind of think it's an impossible thing and I need it too, but you actually are limiting yourself based off of only what you've seen.
Yes.
So that's actually hurting your dreaming than it's helping you.
Yes. Yeah. Being competitive. I'm in sales, so like I realize that there are, and in business and in life, even if you're going for a job interview, you are kind of competing if there's not,
That's
a million
true.
slots. So there is value in being competitive, because really, what does it mean? You're just in touch with reality. You know that there's limited resources, and so like for certain things, and so yes, the competition should push you to become better and to do your best. But if your whole life is around competition, you actually miss the point. It's what's his name? Simon Sinek. He wrote this book called Infinite Game.
Okay.
And he talks about this idea that like, if nobody can win at life. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's no like scorecard. And you say, oh, he won at life, or she lost at life. You know?
Keep saying that though.
Yeah, I know we say that, but but I think the way that we say that is fine, because we can
We're
say
comparing that one aspect of their life. Yeah. Sure.
or we could be. But what I don't mind about that is that we can say that 1,000 people could be winning at life, or we could all be winning at life.
That's
so
true.
That's cool.
Yeah.
But his idea was that like the people who are like constantly looking over their shoulder at somebody else's business, and like they're not even in the same industry, and it's just like comparing themselves.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, he's winning, he's beating me at business. And it's kind of like a flawed way to think, because it limits your creativity, and it limits your sense of meaning, it limits your impact,
your purpose, and like sense of purpose and identity as well. You have no knowledge of how great you actually are too.
It destroys your soul. And then but the thing is, we talk about it just like it destroys your soul, but it also destroys your performance too. And it destroys your ability to accomplish what you were called to do. And what you called to do could be way bigger than this, but because you're staring at this person next to you playing this little game, you're missing the fact that you're not even supposed to be in this game. You're supposed to graduate this and go to something else. And I think so competition does have a useful lane. I think if we're honest, we all admit that we are all probably a little bit competitive, and we do compare. And to a degree that like I said, that is useful, but it's not a way to design your life. It's not a way to pray. It's not a way to, form your future. Yeah.
I laughed because can you imagine? Lord, make me like him. No, I said make me like me.
Yeah.
That's good. I'm going to pivot a little bit.
Yeah.
But I do want to touch on this before we kind of head out. So I've gotten a chance to see you in ministry. You've done well, and I've learned a lot from you.
We kind of you too.
Oh, thank you. God is good. But getting a chance to see you lead a team, mentor, disciple, and then getting a chance to see you like in the workplace as well. And this is something that I've kind of thought about for myself often, and like when I'm encouraging others or in the church, or just even myself, like understanding the seasons of serving in the church and then serving outside in the marketplace. I feel like you do both, and I've experienced that. But what are your thoughts on kind of serving in the local church versus serving in the marketplace, and understanding the calling? I can elaborate if the question is not clear. But.
Yeah, no, I have a lot of thoughts about this actually.
Okay, good.
They have a lot of similarities. Both of them, you're working with human beings.
Yeah.
So in both scenarios, some people are crazy. It don't matter if you're in ministry or you're in the marketplace.
Yeah.
In both scenarios, you have a lot of really great people that are easy to love. Keyword easy. You're supposed to love everybody. Some people are easier,
Yeah.
And in both places, you are you have to get a job done. As much as ministry is about spreading the gospel, there's a way that happens. You don't just show up and just be like, hey, we're here to spread the gospel. You've got to set up, and we're still a set up, tear down church. So I think our church knows that really well. But and you've got to plan and pray. We look at Moses. He had Jethro help him, like learn how to delegate and lead,
how to be a leader.
So there's a lot of practicality in both the ministry context and also in the marketplace context. The way it's kind of different is in the ministry context, you are constantly talking about the mission of reaching, people for Christ.
Yes, it's a well-known fact. Everybody's on the same point.
Everybody's on the, not, well, yes.
I hope
okay.
so.
yeah. Well, what I mean is that, okay, sorry. I'm getting a little too deep here,
That's
but
my
like
fault.
the idea with everybody being on the same page, that's kind of actually what's more similar about both is that, everybody claims to be on the same page.
Fair. Fair.
But what I like, but what's interesting about serving the ministry is that people are, the mission is easier to connect to.
Okay.
I guess what I mean. It's more heartfelt. It's more emotional. It touches you.
Yeah.
This is the reason I was created. It's to serve people for Christ. To see people become, mature followers. To see families change. It's so thrilling. I mean,
Agreed.
the call, the mission, the core values are just so aligned with who you are if you're a believer in Christ that I think there's probably nowhere that's probably more exciting to work in that way.
I agree.
Yeah. It's funny because people think business is more exciting, but I think when you really get into it and you realize it, we're human. We're driven by values, and when your values are so aligned,
and you're seeing
in ministry,
fruit, like
and you're
regularly.
seeing fruit, and people are opening up, and you see them change, and you see them become healthy, and you see them multiply. You see them do that to somebody else. It's so addicting. It's awesome.
Absolutely. It's incredible. Yeah.
It's wonderful. And in the marketplace, however, like the mission, you really gotta work at
seeing it,
at clarifying how, like, why you doing XYZ matters, and also obviously in the marketplace, people are a lot more money motivated, and it doesn't have to be just in sales or in business. People can be working at their IT job, and they're just like, pay me more or I'm out, and it's a lot more transactional. And, I think that part makes it a little bit more challenging. And also people feel like, they have to be nice at church, but they don't feel like they have to be nice at, the marketplace. They people can be more openly, expressing what they really think. And especially where I lead, one thing that's unique about me is being in commission sales is a lot more of like a volunteer army. So since it's not W-2 and you don't have to show up to an office and it's not a job, then people, it's still, that part is actually similar, where it's like you still have to lead by, in this case, you have to lead by inspiration. First, it has to work. Same thing with church. When you show up to church, if the church doesn't touch your heart, if you don't feel like it's making a difference, you're not going to connect to the church. You're going to be out. Same thing with where I'm at. If people don't show up and they don't start making money right away, they're going to feel like this is a waste of time. They're out. They're going somewhere else, right? But there's a much shorter fuse in the marketplace. I mean, you've got to provide value from like the first very second. And I think that, but I do think that my experience leading a church has been priceless, because I really learned, I had a crash course in learning how to lead from the heart, how to lead with my words, how to lead with my discipline, and how to be.
You think it prepared you for that?
For sure.
Okay.
Yeah, priceless preparation. Yeah, or be how, like Craig Rochelle says, a leader that people love to follow.
Yeah.
He says that all the time, and I thought that was such a great, like,
catchy thing.
Yeah, it's like become a leader that people love to follow, because we do love to follow great people, and that's why we're so in touch with influencers,
watching
and stuff
the
like
sermon
that.
or the interviews and all these different things, and we care about these celebrities and all these things. Absolutely.
Yeah, and that's why the Kardashians took off and all that stuff, is because people love following. I'm not saying that's my value, but the stats are there.
We like to watch that.
Yeah, people love people want to be led well. We look at. That's why we so often look back to the great leaders of the past, like Abraham Lincoln or Martin Luther King or Winston Churchill, or we look at these people, or even like coaches like Phil Jackson, or we look at these people like, man, I would love to be there, not necessarily because I want to do the specific task, but more just I want to change the world. I want to be a part of something that matters, and I want to feel like I'm making a contribution, that I'm making a difference. I'm really making a difference. And at Overflow, particularly at church, and we're blessed. There's all these churches in the world, but our pastors are amazing.
Yeah, they are. Absolutely.
They go hard. They're they're talented, but they work really hard, and their character and their integrity match, what we see is really what we get. And I was listening to this business guy. He says that whenever you partner with people in life, you want to partner with people who have high integrity, high energy, and are, smart, intelligent. And so, and I think our pastors exemplify that.
Great.
Yeah.
Was it? So one of the things I wanted to touch on is, was it hard for you to leave? And you weren't in full-time ministry, but the way that the hours were, it kind of feels like that sometimes.
Yeah.
And to go from there, and I know you stepped down for a little bit from leading to go into really putting in time into the marketplace.
Yeah.
Was that hard for you to feel like, oh, I'm serving the local church too? Or how did you basically understand, I'm still serving God, even though that I am serving in the marketplace? Or what does that look like for you now?
Whatever you do it as unto the Lord, not as if serving human, earthly masters, including me. Whatever I do unto the Lord. I'm not making money for me, but I'm doing, even my customers, I'm not serving them, or I'm not serving my manager. I'm not serving these people. I'm serving God, you know. And the same thing at church, because sometimes when you're in ministry and you're serving, it can feel like you're just doing this for XYZ.
Yeah, like the tasks only.
Doing these tasks, or you're doing it just to satisfy some other person's goals or their vision, or their or I'm just doing this so when people come here they feel good, so I'm doing this for them. But no, I'm not doing this just for real. I'm not for real. I'm doing it for the Lord, know. And so, and I think that has a lot to do with the way we understand work. And because when we see work, it was before sin, so it's in the garden, and work is part of what human beings are called to do and created by God to do, and we're creating His image. And we see in Scripture, it says that your Father is always at work. In fact, we take the Sabbath to remind God has us do the Sabbath to remind us that He's the one who's always at work, not us. And so work is part of God; it's part of us. So whether you're working in church or out of church, my hope and prayer, I think when I started coming to Christ and being discipled, I realized that there is a lot of glorification of, we talk about celebrity pastors or whatever, but there's a lot of glorification even of just, that the people in full-time ministry are doing God's work, and everybody else is basically just paying the tithe, what I'm saying, and maybe volunteering here and there. But I always wanted to encourage and challenge and empower and hold accountable the lay Christian, the person who's not in full-time ministry, into how they
can they get involved in.
How can they get involved? And not just get involved in a local church, but remember, they have a unique opportunity. They're around non-believers almost all day.
The time.
Almost all day.
Not the person that's in full-time ministry.
Yeah, full-time ministry, you're serving pretty much Christians, or at least somebody who's walked through the door most of the time. And so that's a huge, because
that's really what the call is, right? It's not just to the believer, it's to the Great Commission is to the people that do not know who God is as well.
It's a huge opportunity. I would love, even if at churches, if they just started being like, hey, how long have you been coming here? Oh, okay, how many people have you invited, not necessarily to church, but and help them start a church, or had a Bible study with that's not a believer, maybe that. How many people have you taken out that and had a spiritual conversation with? And that
the numbers would be low.
But they would grow if
you kept bringing it up.
Yeah, if you kept measuring it and bringing it up and provided examples.
Always something that's been discussed.
Yes. Because even you think about kids' church, right? People. I think our church is pretty good about it, but I remember growing. But no, what I mean, our church is pretty good about it. What I mean is that the parents, I think, are discipling their kids.
Oh yes.
But
I thought you were saying just the kids doesn't get better.
No, it's not the church's job to disciple the kids. It's the parents' job.
Yes, that is true.
And it's not the church's job to turn the job into church. Yeah. But it's a church's job to to empower the saints to do the work of the ministry. So to meet coworkers and talk to them about God, you know, and talk to them about the things that matter. And
I think that's good. I think we forget sometimes, and I think about it with children, like you said, we get an hour and a half of them a day. A week. In a week, we get an hour and a half. Or even as Christians, I think we come to church to receive, to grow, and that's good. That's important too. But we don't receive to pour out during the week. Yeah. I think often it's whatever we received on that Sunday, we're holding on to and trying to grow as individually, and then we come back on a Sunday to get poured back into. Right. But during that, whatever I received on that Sunday, have I poured it out elsewhere?
Right.
And it really, you're right. I think it's very much consumer even if I'm serving, even as someone that's a leader in a church, often
Yeah.
I'm not pouring out when I should be, right? Like I'm not
Yeah.
even encountering
Yeah.
non-believers regularly,
Yeah.
and having those conversations.
Yeah, yeah. And so when you're thinking about life outside of ministry too, because you would think that like I remember Craig Rochelle one time, he did this hilarious thing at the beginning of his sermon where he was like, I have an announcement to make. I got offered a really high salary to pastor this church in California. And so this is my last Sunday. And you can hear like the crowd just go silent. It's like he's like, I'm just kidding. But why is it okay for you to do that and not for me?
Wow.
And it was interesting because it like makes you think, it's like, he's right. Why can a lay person just up and switch jobs just because they're making more money, and we hold the pastor accountable to pray about every decision he makes? I thought we were all equal in Christ. You know what I mean? And so the same responsibility the pastor has to discern, hear the voice of God. So does the average believer. Average. What I mean is the lay believer. And so that's one of my hope. I don't know. I just wanted to be one day somebody that lay believers can look to and say, okay, he lived a decent model, a good model for how to be active in my relationship with God and participate and make a difference and live a life that is, like Paul says, worthy of the gospel.
Yeah. I think it's encouraging because I think sometimes serving the local church I actually feel like everyone should be serving often. I think about that often. But then the truth is, if we are all serving in the local church, who's serving outside of the church, right? So I think remembering that like we actually are we have more opportunities outside of service on a Sunday to really share the gospel than we do on a Sunday service.
That's true.
Yeah.
The local church is still the hope of the world, though. Yeah, because it's kind of like HQ. Like we go here to, and that's why it's so important that our churches stay so vital and rich and doctrinally sound, because they are really shaping the way that Christians engage with the rest of the world. And so. If a church is on fire, who's the church? Church is the people, ecclesia. So if the leadership is on fire, the people are on fire, they go out and they spread the fire, right? But if the church is weak, the people become weaker, and then look what happens to the earth. But I'm actually really excited about how the potential and the possibility. And I think that man, people are coming to Christ in droves, and churches are growing. And I know that the data's, in some places may say like a lot of churches are closing down. That's true, but like, I don't know. I mean, I feel like we're experiencing a lot of growth. And we're seeing people come to Christ, and and I know there's churches all over America and over the world that are doing that.
That are being planted and that are sharing the gospel and that are alive and even young, a lot of young people in the church, which means that young people have the impact to be able to share. They still have the stamina, the ability to go out and still have, reach a bunch of people. Yeah.
And the Holy Spirit is not intimidated. He is not incapable. God is not confused or, in distress. He got it. You know what I mean? And he got us. And so, I still believe strongly that the local church is more than just like, this sphere of influence. It's like this is the hope of the entire world. Like Bible says the government rests on his shoulder, on Jesus' shoulders. Like literally everything depends on Jesus, and this is his way that he's chosen to show himself to the earth, is through the manifold wisdom of God, right? Of the people of God displaying his wisdom and living out his principles, So I'm still pumped about the local church.
Absolutely. And I know that as well. I've seen you in both spheres, so I'm glad you're able to share how both of them have such a purpose in a Christian's life. Okay. You touched on mentorship.
Yes.
You touched on dreaming big and continuing to dream and the value of that. We talked a little bit on, serving the local church versus serving in, the marketplace and being able to do that. So I'm grateful, Aman. I think there's a lot to learn from your life. And you've given us literally so many books and authors, even in this conversation. So even that alone gives people so much inspiration and something to take away from this. So I appreciate all that you've shared with us.
Thank you for having me.
I'm grateful for your life and
likewise.
what God is showing you. And I'm pretty sure you'll be back.
Thank you.
You got
your
own episode.
I know. It's so vain.
I know.
So ungodly of me. I'm over here like, like
It's not
I
ungodly. You
want
have
to be.
something to share.
I know. I do want to share. I'm actually really grateful to you. If I can
That
give
is
you your
good.
flowers while we're here,
Aw.
I really appreciate you starting this. It's really encouraging to me and inspiring to me, and that's one of
What are
the.
you gonna do? Because I did. If I did this, what are you gonna do?
Yo, now you put me on the
What
spot.
have you?
You know, you asked me how am I gonna
Are you
respond.
clutching your pearls?
I don't know. My heart is just like
That's
beating
awesome.
out of my chest. I'm
That's
pumped,
awesome.
but no, for real. Like you're such an inspiration. You're
Yeah.
a great friend and a great sister. I know everybody that has had a chance to get to know you says that.
Yeah.
But I really also genuinely mean that. I appreciate your friendship and your leadership and just the woman of God
That is
that you are. And I
good.
love you. And
I'm
I
learning a
appreciate
lot.
you.
I love you
Yes.
too. I'm learning a lot. I honestly, I think it's been fun, and this is like season 2 now, and it's been really, it's interesting because it's like, how do we do this? How do we learn from the last season? And
Yeah.
how do we keep, encouraging others? And so it's been, although it's fun, it's also a lot of growing and learning for myself, and
Yeah.
consistently trying to refine and, like think about the next thing and
Yeah.
dreaming. And even earlier when we were talking about dreaming, I kept thinking, I've been thinking about it a lot for myself, and kind of like, am I dreaming big? Am I taking the risk? As you get older, like the disappointments are a lot more like, they kind of, you remember
hit-
them more. Like as
yeah.
a kid, you fell, you got up, and you kept
Yeah.
going. But just remembering to dream. So all of these things that we talked about, the mentorship, the discipleship, are things that even myself, I'm kind of like, okay, like, am I doing this well?
Yeah.
And is God, is he being honored in all of these things that I'm saying? And is my serving really focused on him? And is it just for, my own accolades and, the people's applause? And so all of these things that you touched on are things that I, even myself, I'm reflecting on. So
yeah,
it's good.
Yeah, I'll say this. One thing before
Yeah.
we close, my life was really touched this past summer by this like revelation of like little by little.
Yeah.
Remember when the Israelites were leaving Egypt, and God said to them at one point that if he was going to drive out all the people before them just in one swoop, then what would happen is the land would become overgrown, the wild animals would take over it, and then the people would become overwhelmed. Basically, they would fail, And so God said, instead, I will drive them out little by little, and as you increase, you will inherit the land.
That's good.
And so that's God's major program for accomplishing things, his major program for growth, his major program for doing whatever you want to do or whatever he's called you to do, is actually his major program is little by little. He does do miracles. God does do miracles, but that's why they're called miracles, because he doesn't do them constantly.
It's outside of his norm.
Yeah.
His norm is, and even if you talk about in the garden, like the work, right? And we're about to go to another episode. But the everyday work, like God blesses work. He wants us to work.
Yeah.
I think sometimes our culture has, we believe the retirement or the rest is like the vision and the plan, where for him is like, no, before sin came in, I wanted you guys to work. Yeah. Work is not a result of sin. Like you're not working because you failed as a Christian. No, I actually wanted you to work. I wanted you to, and working produces fruit. So there's a harvest. There's like this routine that he wanted us to live in. Before sin. Sin didn't bring work.
Work
so work is not hard.
It's
not work is not bad.
And so
I'm trying to teach myself right now.
I feel you. Little by little. Little by little.
Yeah.
Little by little. So
That's
that's how anything is accomplished.
Thank you for
God
being
bless you.
here. You're awesome.
Yeah, you too. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Aman. We appreciate you.
Yeah, you too.